Sausage Party, co-directed by Conrad Vernon. He directed Monsters vs. Aliens and Madagascar 3. And this is also directed by a Greg Tiernan. And this is his directorial debut. It features the voice talents of Seth Rogen, Jonah Hill, James Franco, Edward Norton, and there's countless others in this film as well. And it's also written by Seth Rogen and Jonah Hill. So the plot of the film, don't worry, this is spoiler free, but it's kind of reminded me a little bit of Toy Story, but this is like an R-rated version of Toy Story. And instead of toys, it's everything you'd find in a store. It's your fruit, your veg, your tins, basically everything that you would get in a supermarket, your groceries or your shopping. Basically they're alive, and they believe that once they go through those doors, once they put through the till and go through those doors, they are going to what they call the Great Beyond. And but one particular character, you could call it, a sausage, kind of discovers the truth about their existence. And so then he kind of feels that he needs to let everyone else know the actual truth of their existence, what actually really does occur or happen in this Great Beyond, or what is it, actually is the Great Beyond. And I think this is where this film, for me, was quite smart and quite deep, because it touches on sort of religious themes, and it had some really good very kind of strong, deep messages in it, which I didn't quite expect. And but obviously this is all sort of kind of within this sort of very R-rated comedy, kind of very R-rated humour, you could call it. But yeah, I feel this really did push the boundaries. There were things in this film that you witness or you see, and it's like, wow. Like, I'm a little bit surprised that it was a 15. And there was a moment towards the end. Again, I'm not going to say what it was, but I think it was probably a couple of minutes, 3-4 minutes. And I was just like, in a good way, because I actually found it funny. I didn't find it quite as funny as people are claiming this to be. I was amused throughout, and I enjoyed it throughout. But there was very, very few moments in this film where I did actually laugh out loud. But I did actually enjoy it, and I was, constantly amused. But I just didn't think it was really that kind of as funny as critics have been making it out to be. I mean, the humour in it could get quite... I fancied it got a bit repetitive. And it's very sort of like... kind of silly sort of humour. But I just kind of like the way they did it. But it just did get a little bit repetitive. But going back to that kind of... that towards the end. There's a moment towards the end. And some of the stuff that it was incredible. I found it so funny. And I was just thinking, wow. And it's like, there were moments like that where this film could have been made up of, entire moments of that, and it could have meant nothing. But this film did actually, it was quite smart. And, it adds sort of messages in it. It was quite deep. And I think that's what makes this film really, really enjoyable. But also kind of makes you it's also thought-provoking. And it's very rare you get films like this that are thought-provoking and make you think and, have some sort of deep sort of underlying message. And that being religion, basically. I mean, for me, this film was very heavily about religion. But yeah, there were some moments where I think the comedy, the humour, the gags kind of fell flat and were a little bit dull. I don't know, maybe it was because of the way how silly the humour was. But overall, this is a funny film. And I fancy the humour in this film was directed towards a specific type of audience, a certain audience, and that's an audience that's not very easily offended. I mean, if you are very, very easily offended, you're not going to enjoy this film. I personally, I loved the humour in this film. I'm not really easily offended, and there was a lot of sort of gags in this film and moments where I could see people getting offended, but I really liked it because this is a very imaginative film. This is a very imaginative movie, and it is a very smart movie, and this is an incredibly raunchy film, and this is going again back to that moment towards the end. If you've already seen it, you'll know what I'm saying. But this is very, very, very raunchy, and that's why I think it kind of pushed the rating. Like at the end of the day, it's just food and grocery sort of items. You know, you'd kind of everyday sort of items that you'd buy in a superstore. So I suppose that's why it's got away with a 15 rating. But yeah, it's a very, very raunchy film. One of my other sort of little gripes with the film was this film spends a lot of time in the supermarket, which I didn't think it would. I mean, in the trailer, you see it when all these items, the fruit and the veg, are all actually gone home to this household, and they actually witness and experience what it actually happens to them in this great beyond. I mean, you've got the potato, and the woman starts peeling the potato. That's all in the trailer, but I thought the film would focus more around that. Sort of, watching these, the carrots and everything else kind of experience, life outside of the supermarket. And I thought that's where this film would kind of be situated the most, or where this film would focus on the most. But it doesn't. It's more so kind of in the supermarket. And so I was a little bit disappointed by that, because I think they could have done a lot more maybe with it. But overall, this was a really interesting, and I really liked the concept of the film. But yeah, I was pleasantly surprised by this, and didn't expect myself to kind of enjoy it on the level that I did enjoy it. I was expecting something very stupid, very silly, with a lot of swear words, which, I mean, there's an awful lot, there's a lot of swear words in this, but that's what I mean by when the humor gets kind of repetitive as well. I mean, it just got a little bit too repetitive to a point where you just become numb to it. So it's kind of like, it's amusing, but you're not really laughing anymore. And there are moments where the comedy does fall flat and it is a little bit dull, but overall I did really I did enjoy it, because it did have that sort of underlying message about religion and politics and wars. And there are moments in this film that will offend people. I fancied anyway, was quite an offensive film. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe that's just me, but I'm not easily offended, and I wasn't offended by anything in this film. To be honest with you, this was sort of my kind of humour, but it was it got to a point where it got a bit too silly and too repetitive, and to a point where I did just get a little bit numb to it, and I was smiling, but I wasn't laughing. But whereas the humour kind of at times fell flat, or was a little bit dull, or kind of got a bit too repetitive, the film kept my attention because of this sort of underlying sort of message, and a very smart sort of kind of message. I think, I really, really liked the concept of the film, but I think if this film wasn't as smart as it was, I don't think it would have been as entertaining, maybe. I think it would have got kind of boring. But because it was, because this film was smart and it was imaginative, that's what kept this film going. So yeah, very entertaining film, a very surprisingly smart film. I do highly recommend it. The animation is nothing special. It's not really, I don't think, up there on the level of Disney or Pixar. But this is a film that actually takes a poke at Disney and Pixar, and that is quite funny. But yeah, I really, really, really enjoyed it, and I will be giving Sausage Party an A-. Thank you again for watching. There are a few reviews that I'm hoping to squeeze in this week, or a few movies to squeeze in even. One of those is Don't Breathe. Actually, Don't Breathe is an almost certainty that you will be getting that. I'm going to be seeing that at some point this week. I'm really looking forward to seeing Don't Breathe, actually. I'm really interested by the concept of the film. I mean, it's got an interesting twist on a concept that's been done repeatedly. So I'm really, really looking forward to Don't Breathe. Kubo and the Two Strings, I'm hoping to squeeze in, and I'm hoping to squeeze in a very, very late review of Finding Dory. But yeah, thank you again for watching. I really, really do appreciate it. If you like what you see, please hit subscribe, and please feel free to leave a comment below. Thank you again, and I will be seeing all you guys soon.